Magic is an amazing gift. It can be molded, shifted, and transformed. Anyone with the opportunity to use and learn it can create almost anything. At the end of the day, magic is the ultimate palette. Riliona, Magistess of Verre, the co-founder of Pentamarone, the leader of the Guild of Witchcrafters, and the co-creator of Galamaruru. The woman has many titles, but despite all her accomplishments, she's far from perfect. Originally from Greybeard, she spent most of her days with her other friends, Crowley and Endymion, but you don't want to hear too much about her past. Unless you do, to which I'll say like and subscribe to the channel. Anyway, let's get back to the show. Riliona uses a special kind of magic known as Verre magic, which we can easily surmise as creation magic through different conduits. It's this specific type of magic that separates her from her two spellcaster compatriots. However, it doesn't end there. The story told through her cards can also explain what other skills her magic does. Riliona, Magistess of Verre, seems to begin to show the effects seen across the rest of the Witchcrafter cards, adding a Magistus spell or trap to your hand, although there isn't a Magistus trap yet. Fingers crossed for 2026. And her ability to return a banished spellcaster seems to fit the theme of saving her friends. When she finally uses her full Magistus power, she's able to special summon a Magistus monster from your deck, which again relates to many of the special summoning abilities her Witchcrafters have. Which I just want to mention, this thematic comparison, tying into the older archetypes, is just the chef's kiss. Additionally, she also gains the new ability, which allows her to negate a monster effect, which alludes to the fact that her magic is extremely versatile, as opposed to being able to do one singular thing. That specific negating effect transfers over to the Witchcrafter Madame Verre form, enabling her to do a full wave of monster negating. And similarly to her previous forms, she also gains another ability to bolster the attack of her friends, which again relates to her most recent form, Verre Maid of Endymion, who gains attack when being next to Prince Regulus and is able to jump out with a new ability, but also keeps her original effect of adding a spell to your hand. Oh, and she can teleport now, which might seem like an oversight until you realize all the lower level Witchcrafters have a similar ability to Magical Dimension, minus the monster destroying. So overall, we have an extremely amalgam-like, as the word amalgamist doesn't exist in a standard English dictionary. See? I really do keep you guys in the know. Anyway, an amalgam-like spellcaster with multiple powers, some that seem to be her own and others that tie into the rest of her followers. But where did these powers come from? The glass, or Verre goddess, is one of the original Magistus, and the entity that bestows their power to Riliona. Surprisingly, it's the only entity of the original Magistus that isn't directly based on any sort of mythology or historical figure. Although I did some research and some sources claim her name relates to a Sumerian goddess, but I wasn't able to find any concrete evidence of this. Her powers seem to be some of the most removed from similarity to Riliona, boosting the amount of times one can attack and destroying an opponent's spell or trap. The only seemingly similar power the two have is some sort of recursion, but even then, that's a stretch. It almost stands to reason that the kinder Riliona saw the destructive potential of the glass goddess as too dissimilar to her own abilities, opting to channel her power into bolstering her own innate skills. This does, however, create an issue, because what happens when another magical force decides it wants to wage a war? Who will be the Witchcrafter's main combatant? At second glance, Hain might not seem like a likely candidate to succeed Riliona. However, thematically, all the stars align to her being the only Witchcrafter that could take her place. Aside from being the only other Witchcrafter that doesn't share the discarding spell to special summon effect, Hain has some innate abilities similar to the Magistus forms of her predecessors. Those powers are then transformed as she dons the veil Riliona once wore, now being able to immediately use the latter abilities of the Witchcrafters while also keeping her destructive power. Finally, for all her shortcomings, Riliona assisted Hain by leaving her in the care of some of her most studious and meticulous students, ensuring that the anxious apprentice could not only one day realize her full potential, but also keep the denizens of Pentamarone safe. It's through these characters that we have a greater understanding of Verre magic and are able to understand more about the greater Yu-Gi-Oh world. Well, humans, I hope you enjoyed this longer form video. I'll be continuing this series as we prepare for the Magistus Chronicles anime, as well as a few other theory videos I've got in the works. I want to thank you all for watching, liking, and subscribing, as I really tried to post a video/short every day for the month of December. I can't wait for 2026, as I'll also be returning to pay per play as well. Anyway, you're probably over my rambling by now. Happy holidays, happy new year, and as always, I'm the artist with a fro, and that, my friends, is the show. Thanks for watching.